Welcome to the first episode of the HKN Connection. My name is Katie. I'm a PhD student in electrical engineering as well as a former member of the HKN Board of Governors, and I'm going to be your host today. Our topic for today's episode is going to be IEEE and Kappa, and our guest is Nancy Ostin. So Nancy Ostin, the director of IEEE-HKN, or Kappa, the Honor Society of IEEE, joined IEEE back in 2012. She has worked to grow HKN to 266 chapters worldwide. In cooperation with the Board of Governors, she has established programs and services to increase the value of membership, to strengthen chapters, and has also worked to establish a culture of philanthropy with the HKN Alumni. HKN has over 200,000 members and inducts over 3,000 students each year. And this is globally. It's not just in the US, this is all around the world. Signature programs include the HKN Experience, which is an online conference, our annual Student Leadership Conference, the Pathways to Industry program, the Bridge Magazine, and the HKN Awards program. So welcome, Nancy. It's so great to have you here. Thank you so much for doing this today. I'm really excited to talk to you. And, first off, I think we want to just take a step back and, define IEEE and HKN and make sure our listeners kind of know what we're talking about. So could you explain to us, what is the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers, or IEEE?
Well, thank you, Katie, and it is really a great pleasure to be with you. I mean, I can always talk about Kappa, and always I'm happy to do so. And I'm delighted to be the guest on the very first HKN Connection, our very first podcast. I'm really excited about the work that you and other student governors have done. Katie was a student governor for us for the 2 years before this, and really has done, in her role with Kappa, both in the chapter and on the board, and even now, amazing things for Kappa. So we're very grateful to you, Katie. So thank you. The Institute, IEEE, the Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineers, is the largest professional society in the world for engineers. So, and a lot of times people might think that's just electrical engineers, engineers just like you, Katie, but really there are the technical fields of interest of IEEE, which are broad. IEEE can be defined in the 32 societies and technical councils that it represents, and then in all the new innovations and things. So it is software, it is marine engineering, it is biomedical engineering. So the list is long of areas, communications engineers. The list is long. I mean, and one of the reasons why you can imagine this is because engineering, John Orr, who was president of Kappa when I first joined, gave a speech, and it was really interesting, because he said, engineering, electrical engineering, used to be a discipline of itself, but right now it's team science, it's integrated, right? So IEEE represents that. All the different sciences around the engineering sciences and software engineering and others that come together to really provide those solutions. So it's an exciting group of, over 400,000 people globally that come together under this technical and all these technical interests, and also interested in solving the world's problems. So again, the networking is amazing. That's the most reason why people join. But the other programs and the ability the things that we can do as a group, as this large force of engineers together is just amazing, from the humanitarian activities to how we reach out and globally in all countries around the world. So it's really an exciting organization.
Yeah, definitely. And you spoke a little bit to the technical aspect of IEEE, which can kind of be grouped under TAB, or the Technical Activities Board. But then there's also Member and Geographic Activities, or MGA side of things. That's the regions and the chapters and the local activities and the student branches too. So I mean, this is just a really big organization with so many opportunities into it. So how does HKN then fit into this mix of this huge organization with all these different things going on?
You're right. I mean, IEEE is a huge organization, and it's quite complex. And those are operating units, if you would. It's how we define an IEEE. It's just a definition of a department or a division. And there are, member geographic activities that handles a lot of that membership stuff, and how the world is divided and how they serve members, and the technical activities is quite complex. And I really encourage you, any of you are interested in where at IEEE can work in the technology that you're interested in studying or would like to study. There's so much information resources on the IEEE website. Well, Eta Kappa Nu, IEEE is the form of two organizations that came together. It was the Institute of Radio Engineers and Electrical Engineers. And they were separate organizations right before the turn of the 19th century, one of them, and then they came together. Oh, don't quiz me on the date. But Eta Kappa Nu was founded on the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign campus in 1904 for electrical engineers. There were 10 founding members, and they came together in an interesting way, really to form a group that supported, that recognized excellence, and that's really what Eta Kappa Nu does at its core. In the honor society world, it recognizes excellence. So IEEE you can join because you're an engineer. Eta Kappa Nu, you must be invited, and you must earn it. Nobody gets Eta Kappa Nu, everybody earns it. And it's through, as a student when you join, it's through your scholarship, attitude, and character, and professionals can join. And that's their contributions as professionals. But it is a little bit different because you do have to earn the invitation to be Eta Kappa Nu. So Eta Kappa Nu was its own organization up until 2010 when it merged in with IEEE. It merged into IEEE because the honor society itself, it's difficult to stay solvent because, again, it's a one-time join model. So Eta Kappa Nu is not a membership like IEEE is. IEEE, you join and you pay annual dues to stay involved. Eta Kappa Nu, as it's more of a designation, it's something you earn and it's always yours. It's more like your degree. It's credentials. So once you earn Eta Kappa Nu and you do the induction, you have to go through, as you know, Katie, you have to be invited, you have to go through a process, you have to prove that you're going to be interested in doing the work of Eta Kappa Nu, which is the commitment to service and other things. But then you join, you go through a ceremony, a ritual that everyone's gone through since 1904, myself and yourself included. We inducted together, which is interesting. You're Eta Kappa Nu for life. So you're inducted once in Eta Kappa Nu and you're always a member. But in 2010, the two organizations merged. So, now we're IEEE Eta Kappa Nu. Of course, many, over 100,000 to 150,000 people had joined before the merger. So they're always Eta Kappa Nu. So once you join Eta Kappa Nu, you're always Eta Kappa Nu. It's yours to keep forever. We have 18-year-old students and 99-year-old engineers that are Eta Kappa Nu. It's both on both of their CVs. So Eta Kappa Nu is yours forever once you've earned it.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you for clarifying that. I know that's a commonly asked question too of, what's the difference between IEEE membership and the HKN designation and how does that work? Overall to summarize, HKN it's the honor society of IEEE. We're a part of IEEE, but we can also be thought of as one of those organizational units or those OUs that fit under this big umbrella.
Exactly.
So we talked a little bit about how students can join, but what if, you didn't join as a student? Maybe you got invited and you didn't take the invitation, or maybe you didn't get invited and then you've gone on to do really amazing things in your career and now you want to be a member. What is there for those professionals for HKN now?
So there is a professional pathway to IEEE to be inducted into IEEE. So certainly, if you're at a university that has an Eta Kappa Nu chapter and you're an engineer, you're in the engineering faculty, you can join Eta Kappa Nu by virtue of the fact that you're on your faculty at an institution with an Eta Kappa Nu chapter. So that pathway is available to you, and we encourage chapters to induct students, student chapters to induct their professors, bring them along. And sometimes a lot of people, there might not have been a chapter where you went to undergraduate or graduate school. There might not have been one, particularly now that we're with IEEE. Eta Kappa Nu Honor Society is really a U.S. Concept. It doesn't really exist outside the U.S. And if you look at other honor societies and other disciplines, they're mostly U.S. based. So particularly when we joined in with IEEE, we became an international honor society. That concept's not very well known around the world. It's expanding. We now have 27 chapters globally, but it's not how an honor society works. So most people here might be familiar with Phi Beta Kappa. Maybe they even joined the honor society in high school, or there's other disciplines. There's honor societies for communications. I was a communications major. There's an honor society. So this concept's a little bit different globally. So a lot of people that might be involved with the IEEE today might have been educated elsewhere in the world. So then there is a pathway through their professional accomplishments, through their contributions to the profession, can be invited to and can be inducted at a Kappa Nu, either into a university chapter. So a university chapter can invite you as a professional to join. And actually, it's kind of cool. One of the two favorite stories about professionals. One was Gary Tooker, who was the former chairman of Motorola, and he had not had the opportunity to be inducted at a Kappa Nu when he was in school. But there's a great chapter at ASU, Arizona State University, and they inducted Gary Tooker. And there I have pictures of Gary standing alongside the students, taking the pledge, signing the book. Or Congressman Cardenas out in California, our Cal State Northridge chapter inducted him. He had given a speech once and mentioned that when he was in school, he'd been invited, but as a first generation American, his family didn't understand what it was, and he always regretted. So there was a pathway. So Congressman Cardenas now hangs the Eta Kappa Nu certificate in both his Washington, D.C. office and his local office, his congressional district office in California. So there is a pathway. There's information on the website, and certainly, the Eta Kappa Nu team will be happy to answer your questions and guide you in that way.
Right.
You do need to be recommended, but again, there is a pathway.
Definitely, yeah. And for anybody who's listening and who's curious about that, our website is just hkn.org. Pretty simple, pretty easy to get to, and we have all this information there too. So kind of switching gears a little bit, we've talked about the Board of Governors a little bit, or we've mentioned it a couple times in passing, but maybe we should dive into that a little bit and kind of explain, how does HKN operate as an organization? So could you talk to that a little bit? What is the operational and governing structure of HKN, kind of at the top level, but also down to the local level? How do those two things interact?
Thank you, Katie. So yes, the Eta Kappa Nu is an operating unit, and it has a board of governors that is responsible for the strategic direction of the organization, for carrying out the mission and vision, creating the mission and vision, and carrying it out, arranging for the operational needs of Eta Kappa Nu, and for serving the members. The Board of Governors is 13 people. There are 2 student governors that are elected. So these are 2 students that are full voting members. They're not liaisons. They have a vote. They have a say. Katie, you know this very well. We really value, we're probably the only organization with an IEEE that has, on this level, we're an operating unit level, that has voting student members. I was really, the board, when I went to the board and asked for that after I joined, they were very receptive, and our student governors have been a great asset to us. So we elect a president-elect every year. So we know who the president's going to be for the next year. So we have a president, past president, president-elect position, so that it helps us maintain the strategic direction and the operations of Eta Kappa Nu. It gives us a consistent leadership flow. And then we have a governor that represents each of the regions of IEEE that Eta Kappa Nu also works into. So we have in the U.S. we have a governor for regions 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6. And then because there's 27 chapters outside of the United States, we have a region 7 through 10 governor that aligns with IEEE. And those represent the regions, and they're elected by the student chapters, university and alumni chapters within the region. And then we have some at-large governors that come on to represent other things. We have an MGA governor at large to make sure we liaison correctly with members in geographic activities in IEEE. But each of these individuals are nominated by a nominating committee of the board. And then once the slate is formed, the active chapters of Eta Kappa Nu vote on between October 1st and November 1st, vote for the members of the board. So the Eta Kappa Nu membership through the chapters elect its representation. So the board then hires me. I'm an IEEE employee, but my full job is working for Eta Kappa Nu, and I have a staff of 2 other people that are charged with carrying out the operations of Eta Kappa Nu. That's everything from processing an induction form and making sure every member gets his or her certificate, to putting on the events that we carry out, the awards, the Bridge magazine, everything else that's done, and from working with the student governors who put together this podcast. So the staff is involved in the 13 committees that also work on behalf of Eta Kappa Nu. It's quite a number of committees. We have a number of ad hocs and others, so we have quite a complex governance structure. But the board is elected by the membership by vote of the chapters, which is different than IEEE.
Right, yeah. And then, we do have all these chapters at all these universities as well, and, they both, fall under HKN as a big organization, but they also kind of fall into the IEEE sections and their own region. So, like here at Iowa State, we're in the new chapter, we're in the Central Iowa section, we're also in Region 4, we're in IEEE USA. We have all these different connections to all these different pieces too, even through just being a chapter at a university.
So that's the other benefit, so some people say, why IEEE and Kappa Nu? Students today, when they join, and professionals when they join, they either are already or they become IEEE members. But you do get the benefit of that structure of organization. Now, I always say people with anything, Kappa Nu included, and IEEE, absolutely, you get out of things what you put into them. So, I could, you have a bank account, you can only make withdrawals if you've made deposits. So IEEE, most things in life are like this, and IEEE and Kappa Nu are no different. So the challenge is for you as a professional, as a student, as a person who either is invited to join Kappa Nu or joins IEEE or is involved with IEEE, is what do you need in searching out and finding some way for you to take advantage of what's there. There is a lot there. It's not the same for every person, so that's why there's 32 technical councils and all kinds of other things. And even with Kappa Nu, there's many things that you can do and be involved with. But you do have to make some deposits. You have to seek out yourself and find a way that you would like to be involved and where you would like to put your time and energy. I can tell you, most people join IEEE for the networking. It's the same with any professional organization. And Kappa Nu has amazing networking as well. But you do need to show up, right?
Right.
You also need to help others. So again, Kappa Nu is a great model for that, because in the Kappa Nu model, it is about service. So when you join Kappa Nu, you make a commitment to serving others. It's part of the induction ritual, which we all love. If you're Kappa Nu, everyone went through the same ritual, took the same pledge. But the service piece of it is what's really unique in IEEE Kappa Nu, is that we are committed to helping others. So as honor students, you included, Katie, you are the most talented students that have worked very hard. Nobody gets it. Everyone works really hard for it. And you have the benefit of a superior education. But what's expected of you now is to give back. So it's really not about what you do for yourself, although you will build your own skills through leadership. So you have chapter leaders and you have chapter officers and people that put on events. And that's nice. It sounds like, it's fun. They want me to volunteer. But sometimes what you don't realize is what important critical skills you're learning that prepare you to be a professional, or prepare you to be a professional, prepare you for your career. Volunteering and taking these leadership roles will teach you how to work with other people, if you're tutoring, how to explain complex concepts to other people, which you might have to do when you work with customers that don't understand engineering concepts. You might get, these organizational skills. You learn about Robert's rules and how to run a meeting, how to take minutes, how to develop all these skills that will serve you well in whatever you decide to do after university, whether it's to go into academia or whether it's to take that pathway, if you would, to industry. So I always encourage people to seek out these opportunities. It's a great place to try. And sometimes, people, I hate to say fail, but you take risks, and if they don't work out, you can adjust and you can learn, and that will make you a better prepared person. So university is great for teaching you the technical skills.
Yeah,
you're at a wonderful institution, and all of our students are very bright. So they're learning the best technical skills, right? They know the engineering stuff. That's no question. It's the other intangibles, those sometimes referred to as soft skills and other skills, that Kappa Nu provides for you if you do get involved. And these skills will serve you well in your career, I promise. You might not even remember where you learned them, how you got there, but you will go into the world of work or into your career in academia a better prepared professional to accept those challenges. You'll have worked with, working with volunteers is a challenge in of itself. So getting other people that are volunteering to do things. I mean, Katie, you do this in your chapter. I do this all the time. So when you're able to lead and inspire others to see a vision, to go for it, to develop programs, and also to give themselves of their time and their talents, and in the case of Etta Kappa as well, in their financial contributions to make sure the organization can survive, they're making a huge commitment. So I really encourage those that are listening to seek out ways within these organizations that you can develop your own skills. This is really the best skill building place that you can have.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, I think too another benefit is that, you know, university is kind of a safe place to try all this out. You know, you can try out a new program, you can test your leadership skills, you can test your event planning skills, and nothing too bad is going to happen if it doesn't go right, and you'll just learn from it and you'll do it better the next time. So it's a great training ground for those kind of things. And also, you know, I really like kind of the creative aspect too. It's, you know, what would have made my life better when I was an undergrad, you know, and kind of thinking about that question of, you know, what if I had, you know, this kind of skill building opportunity, or this kind of study session, or this tutoring, or, you know, this kind of thing, you know, what would have made my experience better, and how can I create that for students now so that, you know, they do have an even better experience than I had. And so it's just that constant feedback loop that you can create through these organizations that create better and better experiences, hopefully, for students in your department. And
as you know, you get a chance to work with your department chair. You get a chance to work with faculty like you wouldn't if you weren't involved with this organization. You also get a chance to work with professionals, either on the board or through all the Etta Kappa. We call them alumni, so it's really anybody who's not in school anymore, because you're always a member. So it's kind of a member, but we call them alumni to kind of define students versus those no longer students. And then you get to meet a great international group. I mean, I know one of your other student governors last year, and still is a student governor this year, is from the University of Polytechnic Torino. So you've met students and networked with students, and then have programs with other chapters around the world. And these are unique opportunities. Other chapters within the U.S., maybe regional programs are reaching out and meeting. So again, you build your personal network that will be there throughout your life, throughout your career. You know, when you're in school, you can always go to a professor and ask. You can get counselors. There's people there to explain technical things to you. When you go out into the world of work, there may not be. You need mentors. You need people you can count on. So these relationships you build through your professional society, through your professional associations, Etta Kappa and IEEE, there will be people there for you to help you, to mentor you, answer questions, guide you in a way that you don't have access to when you're in university. You don't realize it until it's gone, you know, the kind of support that you had. But you can build this support through your professional organization relationships like IEEE and Etta Kappa.
Definitely. And, you know, we kind of mentioned too, we have all these committees underneath the Board of Governors, and that's another way too that both students and alumni can be engaged with HKN on, you know, a more global scale or a bigger level, rather than, you know, just locally at their university or, you know, their local alumni chapter too. So could you speak to that a little bit too, of like, if I was a professional, how would I get involved maybe in one of these committees, or how would I volunteer my time if I'm not necessarily connected to a local chapter anymore?
So you can connect with us through the website, and we are developing an alumni network pathway. So we're developing, and we're looking for help doing this. So if you're an alum out there that's saying, gee, I want to help Etta Kappa do something of great value, we're looking for people that help us build that alumni experience and that alumni network, so that we can bring together. A lot of alumni want to help, and I get to talk to them. So it's really, my job is a great job. I get to talk to these amazing students. I talk to these really accomplished professionals, and I talk to department chairs and professors. It's really an amazing job, and they want to give back. So we're working at ways so that we can match alumni back to chapters if they want to speak or be involved, or on the international level, or on alumni panels, or bringing other alumni together. So how can they want to engage with students? Because most Etta Kappa people at their core are people that want to give back. That's one of the reasons they were selected. Remember, scholarship, attitude, and character. Etta Kappa the Wheatstone, the 3 sides. You get the 4th side. So people want to give back. And so we have the most generous group of people you can imagine. So we are working on solutions for that. It's one of the it's one of the goals of the board is that building that alumni alliance, and we're seeking right now people that want to help us build that and work with us. And we know it's our greatest untapped resource, is the 100,000 people out there that, because the ones inducted in 1904 no longer with us. We have a lot of very committed people that would like to see students succeed, very committed to to our student success, and then our organization. So the invitation's out there. You can contact me through the website. Always happy to connect you through and find out what your interests are and see what I can match you to.
Awesome, fantastic. So, I mean, we've mentioned this too, that we have chapters all over the world, and with that many chapters, they're doing a ton of different things, and there's all these creative activities and events. What are some of your favorite activities that you've seen chapters doing, or do any of them stand out to you as this is a really cool program?
So I'm always blown away by the amount of tutoring and help that students give. So at our MOOD chapter at UC Berkeley, they have the most complex tutoring program. And I've been out at Berkeley. We had one of our conferences there. The student commitment there and at other schools to helping others, to actually doing those tutoring assignments, putting so much of their time to it, helping others, is really impressive. Your chapter does a lot of it as well. The University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign, our Alpha chapter, they actually do all the exam preps, and they prepare all students. So this is again, it reaches out even beyond electrical engineering or electrical computer engineering. Remember, we're also software, so computer science, and how they help prepare others. Some of my real favorite community service outreach one are the Wichita State University did a program called Go Baby Go. With another organization, where they adapted ride-on vehicles for young children with disabilities. So they actually rebuilt these little ride-on cars for children with different disabilities. What a beautiful program. And one of our other chapters I just read about, and we'll be featuring in the Bridge in May, is adapting toys that, automated toys. Maybe it's could be annoying. They dance or sing, or so you have to push a button or do this. They're adapting those kinds of toys for children with disabilities. So the children with disabilities can have that enjoyment too of seeing the toy talk or do other things. So these kinds of things where they're helping others, it's just so brilliant, right? And how they reach out. And the chapters that do these technical sessions that prepare students help them with complex concepts and things that they don't necessarily get in school. At that level. So I read your reports, Katie, the technical workshops that you all are doing, and I know you're going to do one after this, are really amazing. Our chapter in Kappa Psi and University of California, UCSD, does a hard hack, a really great program, brings together a lot of people. Our chapter at University of Michigan does, they do Boy Scout engineering badges. So they work with other organizations. So I could probably go on for a very long time about the things I'm impressed with. I know you and the student governors are working on a successful practices database that will be on our website in the near future, tomorrow, but in the near future. And I really appreciate that, because there really are a lot of innovative, interesting programs that are going on out there. Outreaches in the community, STEM activities, teaching kids in high school, kids engineer programs for younger students, for really encouraging engineering careers, encouraging students to think about engineering, reaching out to diverse groups and working with all kinds of groups of people to make sure the barrier to engineering is lowered, and that anyone who's interested has an opportunity to learn about, get excited about. And our students are the best to do it, because again, other students, younger students, you see this, younger students really relate to the university students. And you can be so inspiring to others. We need future engineers. So we need the skilled, wonderful people that our students and our members are. But them encouraging others to consider and know about engineering careers, break down those barriers is essential. And there's just so much of that going on. It's really an amazing thing to get to be able to do and involved with. I don't build the cars myself. But knowing that I'm working at the organization that empowers this to happen, that helps our chapters, succeed, get leadership, make sure they have members, and do all that, so that they can go out and again, what they do it's throwing a rock in a pond, and the ripple effect is amazing. So we know the impact that Kappa Nu has. I mean, usually about 85,000 hours of service are reported to us each year. That's service that our chapters do for others. And that ripple effect is probably 10 times that and 10 times that. So again, that model is incredibly powerful. And I'm excited to be part of that, and I'm excited to work with those students and people that want to do that kind of work, because it is what's changing our world. It is what's going to empower the next future of engineers. It is what's going to help make those changes, and it's so heartwarming. Nothing feels better than this.
Definitely. Yeah. We have a couple questions in the chat.
Sure.
So one of them here is, a lot of students, they may get inducted and then they go to grad school. And then they're maybe changing universities, and so now they're at a university with a different chapter. Are there mechanisms for them to get involved with that new chapter? They don't have to be inducted again, because once HKN, always HKN. But how do they find a chapter at their new university or make that connection?
So we reach out to all of our graduating students, undergraduates and graduates. We reach out to them and we ask them to let us know so that we can connect them. So Katie, you're a perfect example. So you were even doing your PhD at another university, and you moved, and I was very happy to connect you to the chapter at your current university. And there again, you're always at a Kappa Nu, so we can make the connection for you. If you're in graduate school, you're going to graduate school somewhere else, you're applying to graduate school somewhere, and you're going on the visit. I know time of COVID is different, or maybe you want to connect with, we can connect you with at Kappa Nu chapters and leaders or faculty advisors where you're going or where you're interested in going. We're looking to automate that a little bit more, right? Right now it's the power of Nancy, so, but I'm looking we've these really smart students who are going to help us figure out how we can do that. And we are, with Katie and some other, our two current student governors, both are PhD, all are PhD candidates, and we're really working on that graduate student program and how we can make graduate school a little bit less lonely, and how we can connect you in, how we can support you through your graduate education experience and your PhD. I know it's a little bit lonelier than your undergraduate experience.
Yeah,
so.
Especially, I transferred to Iowa State last January, so I had about 2 months on campus before we went completely online, essentially due to COVID-19. So, HKN has been a huge help to me in that sense of, getting really involved with the chapter here. It's given me a way to connect to other students, to make some friends, because otherwise it was sitting at home doing work by myself and knowing my lab mates. So yeah, it's definitely been helpful from that connection and that social standpoint, as well as just, having that platform again to give back and to create those events and, go above and beyond just taking classes. It's that engagement with your profession and the future of your profession as well that I think is just so rewarding, and it really makes me happy to be a part of this organization too. We have one more question in the chat, and I think that'll probably be our last one for today. So here the question is, what has been your favorite HKN memory? And so I'm going to ask it to you, but then I'll also try to answer it myself.
Oh gosh, well, certainly I'm not an engineer. I'm an association professional. I have a lot of experience in the association world, and that's the career that organizational management is what I've chosen. But when I was invited to be inducted at a Kappa Nu myself, was really quite memorable. I've seen the ceremony, I've gone to lots of ceremonies. When it was my own ceremony, it really meant a lot to me. And it's funny because we were both inducted together. So Katie and I are both Gamma Thetas, inducted at the Missouri S&T chapter. Dr. Steve Watkins, who's one of the faculty advisors there, was our president of Eta Kappa Nu, a dear friend, become a dear friend, a great volunteer. So that was wonderful. But I do have to say, it's hard to pick one, but the student leadership conferences are my favorite. And they're my favorite because I get to meet so many students, and I get to see them make these connections with each other, and I get to see them grow and learn and follow them. And then I see them develop into these amazing leaders. So they come to our conference, they go back, really empowered leaders to go back and do amazing things in their chapter. So meeting everyone, being together, celebrating their accomplishments, doing key chapter and chapter awards, and then seeing them go back, seeing how they grow and go back, and how their chapters thrive is it's really the most wonderful thing. So I missed not having an in-person SLC this year because I love to be with the students. I love visiting chapters.
Right, yeah.
So.
I was actually going to say SLC too, so now I feel like I have to come up with another one.
No, that's a good one. SLC is a good one because, again, I think, and again, we've done a lot of things online, right? So we've switched a lot of things virtually so that we can continue the organization. And, you and I were talking beforehand, it was really interesting because a lot of student organizations are going away. They're, just because they can't meet, they're not surviving. Kappa is working hard to survive. We're thriving in some places, like on your campus, because of that service aspect, because we have ways to keep people involved. We're not just another social organization. So, and it's more than ever. What I hear from department chairs and what I hear from other universities, the need is greater, not less than. So the need for tutoring help, the need for reaching out. We have our We Are In This Together video that's on the YouTube channel, so please watch that too. It talks about how chapters have expanded those services and how the need is greater. So that's kind of exciting. But Katie, it's your turn to talk about your favorite memory.
Yeah.
It's being on the board, right? Isn't it?
So
on the board.
There's so many. It's so hard to pick. The reason I was going to say SLC is I actually only ever got to go to one, and that was 2 falls ago in 2019 when it was at Tufts University in Boston. That was my first SLC. Even though I'd been in HKN for 3 years at that point and had been on the board for about a year then, it was the first time I got to go. And like you said, there's just so many amazing opportunities to meet with other students, to talk with them, to share ideas. I got to do a panel with the other student governor candidates, and it was 50 ideas in 50 minutes. And so we just tried to come up with, at least 50 ideas that chapters could do at their university in a 50-minute session. So everything from, selling lab supplies for a fundraiser to, doing some sort of tutoring or a skill building workshop or bringing in a professor to do a talk or an alumni panel, and everything in between. I think there was even one about a fundraiser regarding catapulting pumpkins or something,
Yeah, I remember that.
All the ideas and all the different things that, people could do. And it can be so creative and so fun too. But I think more so at the local level, one of my favorite things to do has been teaching skill building workshops. So I've created some for like MATLAB, PCB design, Arduino, and just, having that opportunity to teach somebody a new technical skill. These are all no experience required. You don't have to have ever programmed before or ever touched the software or even really know what a PCB is. You can come in and in 2 hours you'll have that foundation, and then also hopefully the confidence to start to learn more. I know when I was an undergrad, it took me a really long time to kind of build up that confidence to even try to learn new things by myself, because it was kind of like, I don't know what an Arduino is. How am I supposed to figure this out? And a lot of people would just be like, just figure it out. And that wasn't helpful to me. So trying to create the solution to what I felt when I was a younger student and offer that up as an opportunity to help people grow their engineering confidence and that intuition that helps you solve problems. So those have been some of my personal favorite things. So
the confidence is a good point, Katie. I mean, I've talked to a lot of people who've even become Kappa presidents of their chapters, leaders, and they said, I didn't even realize, and it gave me such confidence to go forth and do things. When somebody said to me, and we know the power of that, in the youngest people and older people, if you have the confidence and someone does tap you on the shoulder and you're recognized for that, it does give you that confidence. And that is a critical element to success.
Definitely. So I think we're towards the end of this first episode. Do you have any closing thoughts or anything else that you wanted to touch on before we wrap up?
Well, I did want to thank you so much, Katie, and for the others, Joe and for Sandra, that helped pull this together. It's really a great experience. I look forward to lots of great things from our podcast. I'd like to encourage anyone who gets a chance to listen to this to please contact us, and hopefully you're curious enough to learn more. If you're an alum out there, there's lots of opportunities to be involved. HKN is also fueled by philanthropy, so there's a small fee that students pay when they induct, but we are a lot of our expenses need to be met through generous donations, and a lot of our alumni are quite generous, so we encourage that as well. But hopefully you're interested enough to learn more, and if you're at HKN out there, hopefully this made you feel really good about what you do and what you can do. HKN is empowering, and I encourage each of you to feel empowered through this program and get involved. Involvement is key.
Definitely. And again, our website is just hkn.org. That's where you can go to learn more. If you're interested in learning more about IEEE, IEEE.org. So those are kind of best places to start to dig in and find this information. So I just want to thank you again, Nancy, so much for talking with us today, and sharing all this really useful information about IEEE and Eta Kappa Nu. So everyone, this has been our first episode of the HKN Connection. If you like what you heard, be sure to like our video and subscribe to our channel so that you can get notifications for when we go live the next time with our future episodes. And again, just thank you so much, and have a great rest of your weekend.
Wonderful. Thank you, Katie. Take care.